Hi, it's Jack, and this is the podcast version of this episode. If you want to read the words as they're being analysed, then if you're on Spotify, you can become a subscriber of this channel or head over to the YouTube channel. And on both platforms, you can also sign up to get exclusive episodes and early access to the regular weekly episodes too. When Dustin Duren cried in court, he said it surprised him. He also claimed he'd been weeping for months.
When I started crying, that was not planned or expected. Margaret even changed her direct because of it. That was genuine. I wept uncontrollably almost every waking minute for months after this tragedy.
He'd been weeping for months, his crying surprised him. They both can't be true, can they? And that contradiction tells us everything we need to know about his remorse. Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If you're new to this channel, what I do here is different from anywhere else because what I do is look only at the words spoken by the person at the heart of the story. I strip away everything else and just look at the words. And then I use my process of statement investigation to give you the key to seeing where deception could be happening, where the truth could be, and also the motivations of the person talking as well. It's a process that I use with investigators, with corporate clients, and with the media to get a deep understanding of what is really being said. So this case, this is Dustin Duren, and he has been convicted, found guilty of killing his girlfriend, Caitlin Nafziger, and he got 45 to life. Now, just ahead of the sentencing, he gave one of those statements that people give to try and get a more lenient sentence, and I'm going to look at the words he uses there to see, is he truly remorseful for what he did, or is he still really blaming everyone else but himself for the murder of his girlfriend? So as we look through this, as we listen to his statement, I've got some things for you to watch for. Number one, watch for what he owns. Which part of what he says does he really own and commit to, and which is more distant and far away? Watch for where he puts the blame. He's been found guilty. Does the blame sit with him? Or does he subtly try to blame other people when he talks? And in this first part, I want you to watch for consistency. Not what he says is consistent, but how he points out his consistency. And also look for downplaying. Does he really take on what happened, the tragedy, what happened, the horror of what happened? Or does he downplay what happened? Have a listen to this first part of his statement.
I've always been horrified by what has happened. I've always been devastated by the fact my children no longer have a mother. I have pushed back from the very beginning with my frustrations about the why and against the misinformation about myself, Caitlin, my lives, and my families. I've always acknowledged, first and foremost, I took a life. And just as I said in my testimony, that life was important to me, important to our children, important to our family, important to everyone here. When I started crying, that was not planned or expected. Margaret even changed her direct because of it. That was genuine. I could not fathom that this had happened. I wept uncontrollably almost every waking minute for months after this tragedy. That led to me writing a note and attempting to kill myself. By what can only be described as divine intervention, I am still here. And that is what led me to Pastor Justin and me coming to truly know Jesus Christ. I've poured my heart and soul out to him. I've spoken truthfully and with honor. Although I still wrestle with him in some areas, I am at peace.
Now, there's some key concepts there that he nails again and again and again. And this is something that liars do a lot. They point out how consistent they are. Because I think in the liar's head, if they point out, I've always told the same story, I've said the same thing time and time and time again, it makes the lie sound more believable. Now, it might make the lie sound more believable if you are consistent and don't contradict yourself or bring up ambiguities. However, pointing out how consistent you are is something that liars do. And look at this. I've always been horrified by what has happened. I've always been devastated by the fact my children no longer have a mother, is what he says. By the way, Not true, because you can't always be devastated by the fact your children no longer have a mother, because when they did, then you wouldn't be devastated because they did have a mother, not didn't have a mother. So he's lying here. This is what happens when someone talks in absolutes, like I've always been devastated. Absolutes are very rarely true. The world is shades of grey. So he's pointing out his consistency there in the very first thing he says. I've always been horrified by what has happened. I've always been devastated by the fact my children no longer have a mother. And look at what I see as well. Downplaying. This is something that's horrible. He shot Caitlin. He killed Caitlin by shooting her. And yet he boils it down here to a very soft, I'm horrified by what has happened. I've always been devastated by the fact my children no longer have a mother. So he's downplaying the severity of what has gone on there. He's distancing himself from that. And also in distance there is I've always been horrified by what has happened, not what I did, not taking any ownership there at all. It's the same thing there with I've always been devastated by the fact my children no longer have a mother, brackets, because of me. But he doesn't say any of that. He's not present as an actor in these actions here. He says, I have pushed back from the very beginning with my frustrations about the why and against the misinformation about myself, Caitlin, our lives, and my families. So again, I've pushed back from the very beginning. Again, this theme of look how consistent I have been about all of this. If I'm consistent, I must be a good person is the vibe that I think he wants to get across here. And then he's got frustrations, not about the fact that someone has died and that he killed someone, but it's frustrations about the misinformation. And look, the way he orders the people he talks about or where this misinformation has come, he puts himself first. You don't count when you've killed someone, right? You deserve all the misinformation going. But that's his biggest priority here is the misinformation about himself. Caitlin comes second. Our lives, so joint, that's me and Caitlin third, and the families at the end of it. He carries on with another showing us how consistent he's been. I've always acknowledged first and foremost I took a life. I've always acknowledged first and foremost I took a life. And again, we've got the downplaying as well. So we've got the consistency and we've got the downplaying. I took a life. No, you killed your girlfriend. You killed Caitlin. You put yourself in there finally with I took a life, but it's just a life. It's not Caitlin's life. And just as I said in my testimony, so more of this consistency here. Just as I said in my testimony, I haven't contradicted myself. There's nothing going on with me that's woolly, and I've always been precise. Just as I said in my testimony, that life was important to me. Not her life, just that life. That life was important to me, important to our children, important to our family, important to everyone here. You'll notice again when he lists people, he's top of the bill. That life was important to me. And then important to our children, then important to our family, then important to everyone else. And then he does this thing about the crying. When I started crying, that was not planned or expected. Was anyone saying it was planned? I don't know. But for some reason, he feels the need to tell us that it wasn't planned, that it was spontaneous crying. It wasn't planned or expected. When someone tells you why something wasn't, especially unprompted, or what something wasn't, the chances are that it could actually have been planned. And what's important for him to get across here is that plan didn't exist. Don't go looking for it anywhere. That was not planned. Margaret even changed her direct because of it. I think this is talking about his lawyer, asking him questions. Big deal. Someone has died here, but hey, someone's changed their direct. That was genuine. So again, he's telling us, and he's over-explaining it now, why he was crying on the stand. It wasn't planned. It wasn't expected. That was genuine. Why did you feel the need to tell us it was genuine? Why don't you just let genuine things stand on their own? I could not fathom this had happened. And again, downplaying. No, I could not fathom what I'd done. I could not fathom what I had to talk about on the stand. I don't know what he means by this. And he doesn't tell us. It's just a sheer downplaying of, I could not fathom that this had happened. And then he says, I wept uncontrollably almost every waking minute for months after this tragedy. Well, wait a minute. You wept uncontrollably almost every waking minute for months after this tragedy? That's a whole lot of crying. And then when you have to talk about it on the stand, then when you're hearing the stories in court about what happened and what you did, your crying was unexpected. That's what you told us earlier. Not buying that contradiction. That led to me writing a note. Now, I took some of this out so we don't get in trouble with the censors of some channels, but a note and attempted to, be here no longer. Who's the victim here then, eh? Not the person that's dead, it's the person that's still alive, apparently, because, I wept uncontrollably, and then I wanted to end it all. By what I can only describe as divine intervention, I am still here. He moves to position himself as the person suffering here, and not the person who's dead, or the close family of the person who's dead. The blameless people don't get a look in here. He's the sufferer. And then, if you're a regular on this channel, you'll notice this one. It's the move to God. And this is what led me to Pastor Justin and me coming to truly know Jesus Christ. So often people will invoke a God in order to get themselves looked at as a good person. How can he be a bad person? He knows Jesus Christ is what he is attempting to paint here in picture terms. As I always say when I do this, I'm not knocking anyone that's got religion. I'm not knocking anyone that's got beliefs. I am knocking people who have done very bad things, who all of a sudden invoke God in order to bestow some of that goodness on themselves. And that's what I think is happening here. Although I still wrestle with him in some areas, I am at peace. Well, are you wrestling or are you at peace? Everything he said so far says he isn't at peace. He was crying unexpectedly. He can't fathom what has happened. He made a bad thing happen. Everything he said so far in this statement says he isn't at peace, but he wants to know because he's met Jesus Christ, then I am at peace. So that was the first part of what he said. And in that there, I think he is downplaying what has gone on. It's boiled down to just this more often than not. He really wants to get across how consistent he is, which is a hallmark of a liar. It's all image management. Now, this is the point of what he's doing, I know, is to try and get a shorter sentence, so he wants to make himself look good, but is it genuine or not? I'm not seeing a lot of genuine remorse here whatsoever. I'm seeing holes in his words where I don't think that really he's the good and remorseful person that he wishes to paint the picture of, and we have him finding Jesus here as well, which regularly comes up in a deceptive terms when somebody wants to be let off the hook or thought better about. Let's get the second part of his statement now. And I just want you to, when you listen to the words that he uses here, watch for the blame shift from Dustin.
When I talked to Caitlin asking if she wanted to stay at my home while she was here, she said no. She referenced trauma from her childhood and not wanting to feel trapped in an unknown place. She said, no one benefits from me being debilitatingly anxious. I knew that. I knew her struggles. God knows I had plenty of them myself. We tried to work through them together. I tried asking others for help, but the ultimate responsibility lies with me. Even though we were never married, our children created a bond, a forever bond between us, a sacred bond. I had a responsibility to her, and my choices made long before that night led to this. I had obligations to her that I did not meet. I failed it. My pastor mentioned how I've been praying for Caitlin's family, and that was true even before I met him. Specifically for you, Lori, I have empathy for you. What I've witnessed from you is that of a loving mother and grandmother. Someone who, even when pushed away, never gave up. I still vividly remember us all trick-or-treating around your house just 2 years ago. I remember all of us together on Christmas Eve, not even 2 years ago. I know this to be true. There is no greater pain in this world than that of losing a child. I grieve for you. I grieve with you. I'm sorry. To also point out, Tim, your last words, I can imagine the difficulty you had. It is no small thing, and I thank you. Your words are inspirational, and I do honestly mean that.
How are you feeling about this guy through his words? Let's look at them here. He started off that section with saying, when I talked to Caitlin asking if she wanted to stay at my home while she was here, she said no. She referenced trauma from her childhood and not wanting to feel trapped in an unknown place. She said, no one benefits from me being debilitatingly anxious. I knew that. I knew her struggles. Is he attempting here to shift the blame to Caitlin? That Caitlin said no to something that he suggested that seems quite nice to stay at my home while she was here. Was Caitlin to blame because she has this childhood trauma that could have been coming out? That Caitlin would have felt trapped in an unknown place. She said, no one benefits from me being debilitatingly anxious. I knew that. I knew her struggles. So was it Caitlin's struggles? Is he trying to bring all these up as some mitigating factor? I'm not really that bad a guy. Caitlin was difficult, basically. She was anxious, debilitatingly anxious. Also, she said no. Was that really some of the issues here, that someone stood up to him and said no? But to me, he's trying to mitigate here and say, look, life wasn't easy for me. Caitlin was hell to deal with as well. God knows I had plenty of them myself, he says, referencing struggles. Poor guy. Again, trying to elicit some sympathy here. It's all about him. We tried to work through them together. Now, that's interesting. God knows I had plenty of them myself. We tried to work through them together. So is it we tried to work through my struggles? Because that's the ones he's talking about when he first says then. God knows I had plenty of them myself. We tried to work through them together. Is he saying they tried to work through my struggles, but, Caitlin's struggles? Nah. Don't really worry about them. Also, the word try always implies failure. So we tried to work through them together, but we didn't. This one's even worse. I tried asking others for help. It's not just I tried to get help from others. It's I couldn't even ask them for help is the failure that's coming through in that try. But the ultimate responsibility lies with me. The ultimate responsibility suggests there's some different levels of responsibility, that some things are going on that he thinks there are other responsibilities for this murder out there. He's got the ultimate one, yeah, he's admitting that. But by mentioning the struggles that Caitlin had and also the struggles that he had himself, are these struggles all to blame here? The ultimate responsibility lies with me, suggests there are other responsibilities in his mind, and they don't lie with him, in his words there. He carries on. Even though we were never married, our children created a bond, a forever bond between us, a sacred bond. I had a responsibility to her, and my choices made long before that night led to this. I mean, this is just a bit of word salad there, but my choices made long before that night led to this. And he doesn't say what this is. Well, this is actually present tense. It's not even, the murder led to her, past tense, murder led to her no longer being with us or anything like that. Is this actually what he's really concerned about? The trial, the fact he's been found guilty, the fact that he's going to jail for a long time, and this is him talking before sentencing. Is that what he's on about? He does seem very self-concerned. And he carries on, I had obligations to her I did not meet. I failed it. Again, obliged to her. You killed her. It's not about obligations. You killed her. That is what you're not talking about. And then he says what a good guy he is again, invokes some Jesus by talking about my pastor. My pastor mentioned how I had been praying for Caitlin's family, and that was true even before I met him. I don't think it was. I think this pastor has been brought into the story to try and get people to see better of him. If I'm friends with a pastor, if a pastor's going to talk up for me, all good in Dustin's world. But again, as well, even before I met him, even before I met the pastor, I was praying. This is how consistent I have been. I've always been doing all these things. And then he addresses Laurie, who is Caitlin's mom. Specifically for you, Laurie, I have empathy for you. What I've witnessed from you is that of a loving mother and grandmother, someone who, even when pushed away, never gave up. Who was pushed away by who there? He doesn't say. Were you the one doing the pushing away there, Dustin? You just don't mention it. You don't go into any detail. Talking of not going into detail, his next thing, no detail. I still vividly remember us all going trick-or-treating around your house just 2 years ago. I remember all of us together on Christmas Eve, not even 2 years ago. Now, of all the things you could pick as memories you remember, there's two convenient holidays. Oh, I can't remember any specific times. Oh, yeah, there was the Halloween thing, and yeah, there was Christmas time as well when we got together, not even 2 years ago. Now, listen, he says he remembers them. He vividly remembers the trick-or-treating. I still vividly remember us all trick-or-treating. I remember all of us together on Christmas Eve. Doesn't say whether they're good or bad memories that he has. He just says he can remember doing all those things. He's trying to like bond himself into this family and say, look how connected I was with all these people, and if they accepted me, again, I can't be all bad, can I? But he doesn't have, I don't think he's got the authentic experience to say how good these things were, or maybe they weren't good at all. And that's why we get this very vague description of remembering trick-or-treating and remembering Christmas Eve. I know this to be true. There's no greater pain in this world than that of losing a child. That's all very true, but it's sort of conceptual. It's up there in the sky. It's not about what happened on the ground, which is him killing Caitlin and depriving Laurie of her child. He just talks in conceptual terms. He doesn't talk about what he did again. I grieve for you. I grieve with you. I'm sorry, he says. Now, that's the only time I think in the entire speech that he gives that he does say, I'm sorry, or expresses any words of apology, remorse, regret, or anything like that, a wish to turn back time. He does say, I'm sorry. You'll note he doesn't join it to anything, though. This could be, I'm sorry that I'm in this jam. I'm sorry I got caught. That could be what he's sorry for, because he doesn't have the words to express it any larger than that. To also point out, Tim, your last words, I can imagine the difficulty you had. It's no small thing, and I thank you. Your words are inspirational, and I do honestly mean that. We've got that word honestly in there. Why does he feel the need to tell us that he's being honest right here? Why can't he just talk to Tim straight and say, your words are inspirational? He has to, prove that it's inspirational by saying, I honestly mean that. I don't think he does honestly mean that. That's why he's pointing out he's being honest, because it's a lie. And again, lack of detail. What did Tim's words inspire you to do? What did you take from Tim's words? Just your words were inspirational, is what he says. So here in that second part, subtle digs, I think, as to other people are responsible for what happened to Caitlin. It wasn't all on him. It was her struggles. It was childhood things. It was demons that he was facing as well. That ultimate responsibility, but there's more responsibility there. There's a real lack of detail in his memory and his respect for the other people as well. It's kind of bland. And he's still really remote from the murder. He's still downplaying it and creating massive distance there. By the way, hello to Panic at the Discourse, who suggested this in the comments on YouTube, said, I saw this statement in court yesterday and I think you'd love it. You were right. I did love it. If you've got something you'd like me to break down, or if you see something, do get in touch. Leave a comment. Get in touch on social media. You'll find my email address here as well. Do get in touch and see if we can come to an agreement that this would be a good thing to break down. Now, do you ever get the feeling that someone's holding something back and not giving you the full story? You're probably getting it in this episode. We get it in most episodes. But listen, if that happens to you in life, you're not being paranoid. You're being perceptive. Most of the people miss the clues hiding in plain speech, but you don't have to, because I will show you how to hear what's really being said, and more importantly, what isn't being said. Every case I break down on this channel will sharpen your instincts and change how you hear conversations forever. So if you want to see through the noise, hit subscribe, make sure you get every episode that I release. And if that's not for you, then do hit the like button, follow this channel if you want to, so that you will get just deeper education in what the words people say mean and what the words people don't say suggest. It's all here, and it's here regularly. And listen, do you know someone else who keeps getting misled, who could do with hearing some of the tips that I give in this channel? Send this their way. You might just change the way that they see the world. Now let's get back to Dustin. He's got one last bits of things to say. And let's look at what he remembers and what is odd about what he remembers about his relationship with Caitlin.
I will not let Caitlin be forgotten. I never spoke ill of Caitlin to our daughters. I always wanted Caitlin involved in our children's lives. I have so many incredible memories with her. When she was pregnant with Elwyn, I took her to my favorite place, Yosemite. My fondest moment was waking up to our campsite surrounded by deer, watching us in grazing before slowly trotting away. Then a few months later, Caitlin took me to Chicago, including visiting the beautiful botanical gardens and Six Flags, where Elwyn got to ride a little roller coaster before she was even born. In Nevada, there was a beautiful oasis a few miles from our house with man-made lakes, horses, and dozens of peacocks freely roaming. We went there regularly and was a family routine I wish never ended. That was also where Elwyn and Valen got to pet and ride their first horse. And Elwyn and Valen, my life, my purpose, my everything. I envisioned great things for both of you, and I still do. Know that my love for both of you is infinite. Above all else, stick together, protect and love each other unconditionally. I will be there for you no matter what. Even when separated by distance, we're never separated by heart. To all my friends and family who have supported me and continue to do so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm truly blessed, and to each one of you, it'll never be forgotten. I ask, Your Honor, that you minimize my limitations as much as you are able, alongside allowing me to cultivate a life with my daughters and be the strong, positive influence I was always meant to be. I do not ask this for selfish reasons, but so that I may humbly serve God, country, family in full. Thank you.
When someone tells you what's not happening, it very often is, it was supposed to say. He started that section by saying, I will not let Caitlin be forgotten. I never spoke ill of Caitlin to our daughters. I always wanted Caitlin involved in our children's lives. I never spoke ill of Caitlin to our daughters. I didn't see the trial. Was this brought up in the trial that he was bad-mouthing Caitlin to the children? I don't know, but the fact that he feels the need to say it suggests to me he did speak ill of Caitlin to the daughters. Otherwise, why does he bring it up? It's a very, very strange thing to just randomly bring up in the middle of this really crappy tribute to Caitlin. I always wanted Caitlin to be involved in our children's lives. Again, we've got that absolute. That makes me go, what's going on here? Again, we've got this sense of consistency. I always wanted her involved in our children's lives. And did he try and get Caitlin out of the children's lives? I think that would be possible as well, because again, it's something that he's bringing up here. I have so many incredible memories with her, he says. When she was pregnant with Elwyn, I took her to my favourite place, Yosemite. Look who's right at the heart of it again. It's him. I took her. It's not we went. There's no joint pronoun there. It's I took her, and I took her, that is like not we went, which would be in concert, but I took her. Come here. You're coming with me to my favourite place. Well done. We went to your favourite place, Yosemite. My fondest moment was waking up to our campsite surrounded by deer, watching us and grazing before slowly trotting away. You'll notice that he doesn't involve Caitlin in his fondest moment there. Yeah, maybe she's part of us and our campsite, but he doesn't mention her at all. So I have so many incredible memories with her, and then the memory that he shares doesn't involve her whatsoever. It's the same with then a few months later, Caitlin took me to Chicago, including visiting the beautiful botanical gardens and Six Flags, where Elwyn got to ride in a little roller coaster before she was even born. So once again, the memories are about the gardens, the Six Flags, and Elwyn riding a roller coaster. She wasn't born. Caitlin actually rode the roller coaster, but he doesn't mention her whatsoever. All these great memories with Caitlin don't involve Caitlin. It's the same with this one. In Nevada, there was a beautiful oasis a few miles from my house with man-made lakes, man-made lakes, horses, and dozens of peacocks freely roaming. We went there regularly, and it was a family routine I wish had never ended. You'll notice that his memories about Yosemite, about Chicago, and about Nevada are all about location and things within the location. The memories are not about people at all, and certainly not about Caitlin. This was also where Elwyn and Balin got to pet and ride their first horse. Elwyn and Balin, my life, my purpose, my everything. I envision great things for both of you, and I still do. I'm just going to check on the floor here because I think he dropped Caitlin somewhere. These are all the great memories he had of Caitlin, and she hasn't had a mention at all. We're now on to the children, Elwyn and Balin. He just doesn't mention these kids. He mentions the kids, sorry. He doesn't mention Caitlin at all. Know that my love for both of you is infinite. Above all else, stick together, protect and love each other unconditionally. I will be there for you no matter what. Even when separated by distance, we are never separated by heart. To all my friends and family who have supported me and continue to do so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm truly blessed. And to each and every one of you, it will never be forgotten. And then he turns to talk to the judge. I ask, Your Honour, that you minimise my limitations as much as you are able. Now, we have this downplaying thing again. I ask, Your Honour, for a shorter sentence as possible. I ask, Your Honour, to put me in jail for the minimum possible time, but he describes it very weirdly, a way I've never heard it talked about before. could you minimize my limitations, please? This, to me, is a guy who can't confront things. I think in life, he probably couldn't confront things either. Part of the struggles that he was talking about. Start the fact he said he tried to do things to fix the relationship and confront these struggles, but he never ever did. The word tried tells us that. He's not confronting what he did to Caitlin at all. Apart from that, I took a life, which is still kind of wishy-washy compared to what actually happened. And here, minimize my limitations. I think he's got real problems saying what he wants and taking things head on when he talks. So minimize my limitations as much as you are able, alongside allowing me to cultivate a life with my daughters, to be the strong, positive influence I was always meant to be. Not, you'll notice, the strong positive influence I was before I got arrested, or before I killed the mom, before I killed Caitlin. It's the strong positive influence I was always meant to be. That says he was never a strong positive influence, but now he's decided that he wants to be one. I do not ask this for selfish reasons. When someone tells you what's not happening, then that's very often what is happening. And also, let's be fair, if you're facing life in jail, I would be selfish about it and try and get it down to as much as possible, but not for him. He wants to say, no, I'm not doing this for selfish reasons. I'm doing this for other people. Again, something that is present in deception so often is, I'm not doing this for me. No, this is not about me. I'm just a byproduct of this niceness. It's really for other people. And the people he talks about, I want to humbly serve God, my country and family in full. He's American. Country's next to God in so many ways. He's invoking the country. I want to be a good, patriotic citizen. How? So I'm not being selfish. I want to do this for God, tick, country, tick, and family in full. And he says thank you. So that was Dustin's statement. And what do I get there? Look, overall, this is image management. And we kind of expect that, but it's not very good image management. It's designed to show that he's sorry. He's found wanting, though, that he just doesn't say it with any authenticity at all. He really just wants a lesser sentence. So all of it has been building up to that end point to limit his incapacity or whatever it was that he said. But you look at that, in his words, he doesn't take accountability in his words. He paints a really odd relationship between himself and Caitlin. I think there was some real difficulties going on there. I haven't looked at Caitlin at all, but from what I can see from him and the way he talks, I think he was a real sticking point in all of that. And those memories based on where they were, not who they were, I think is a real big thing there. He distances himself from his actions and he downplays the murder of Caitlin, the murder that he committed as well. This is all about trying to get a lower jail sentence, but the reasons that he expresses for wanting to get that lower jail sentence, I don't believe are true at all. So listen, what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you can, or get in touch on social media. What do you think of Dustin Duren's statement ahead of sentencing there? NeverAtruerWord.com is the website. There you'll find a whole load more analysis of people talking, many of them in court and saying things and giving evidence like Dustin Duren was there. Or you could sign up for the newsletter where once every month I will give you the top tips for understanding what people are really saying with their words and where deception could be happening. You'll find that all at NeverAtruerWord.com. I'll see you soon for something new, and remember, the truth is always in the words.